Hey, today I'm talking about 3 movies featuring 3 female actors who, over the course of this last year, I've got a bit of a mega crush on. And so the names of those 3 films are Leaving Las Vegas, Centurion, and Nobody Walks. First up is Leaving Las Vegas. This is a 1995 film starring Nick Cage and Elizabeth Shue. And the basic premise is Nick Cage plays a very sad man who wants to kill himself using alcohol. So he goes to Las Vegas to do so, and while doing so, he befriends a lonely yet beautiful prostitute. And it's really interesting. I think what helps add context to this film too is knowing that, so this is based off of a book, and the author of the book, 2 weeks after he found out that this was being turned into a movie, he then killed himself. And I believe somewhere on the Wikipedia page too, it said that his father saw this book/movie as his suicide note in a sense. And so with that in mind, it kind of paints a very clear picture of what this story is. It's a suicidal man's fantasy of how he'd like to kill himself. So that it's to die a sort of peaceful death using alcohol, so you really won't remember what's happening, and then also you're very numb and sometimes giddy and happy, but just you're not really there as you're dying, you're just deteriorating and you don't notice that you're deteriorating. And then on top of that, it's again a fantasy, so he has this beautiful angel with him kind of guiding him and not really judging him, just letting him kill himself and bearing witness to it. So it's a very, very sad story, but it definitely told very well. In particular, I was really impressed with how they presented Nick Cage, because they did a good job of not glamorizing anything that he's doing. He looks terrible. He looks so awful throughout this. And they're not making fun of him, and they're not putting him up on a pedestal. He's just a sad man doing sad man things. And that's a difficult thing to do, because so many people would kind of inadvertently play this or portray this as not how he did it, but how he did it was really the correct way to portray this character. And he rightfully so won an Academy Award for this, which I'm not surprised by, because he definitely gave a great performance. Elizabeth Shue was also really, really great in this and really beautiful. One of the things that really didn't work for me though was the music. It's R&B blues stuff, and that type of music just doesn't work with my brain. It's just, I do not care for it. So that definitely brought it down a bit. It's still a good solid movie that's definitely worth checking out. I would widely recommend it, but with a little bit of an asterisk in that I wouldn't recommend it to people who are suicidal. Please don't watch this movie, and also please don't kill yourself. You are loved, and that's not the solution. And I also just don't recommend it to people who are kind of depressed, because it's a depressing movie and this isn't gonna make you feel good. It's definitely a good story told well though, so yeah. Next up is Centurion. This is a 2010 British movie starring Michael Fassbender. It also features one of my all-time loves, Imogen Poots. Isn't her nose great? I love her nose. Anyway, the basic premise is this is kind of inspired by real life events, where back when Rome was trying to conquer England, there is this regiment of soldiers who get sent off into this one section of England, and in real life, they never returned. So this is just kind of filling in the blanks of what maybe happened to them. And it's all right. It's trying so damn hard to be cool. It just really wants to be 300, but it is not pulling it off. It's okay. The action's fine, but it's definitely punching above its weight class. The story's fine. The acting's fine. Imogen doesn't come in until late in the movie, but when she does come in, she's another main character, and she looks gorgeous in this. I love her long curly hair in this. And she does mostly good. Though her first scene, she didn't have an accent, but then the whole rest of the film, she had an accent. So that was a little weird. Anyway, I really wouldn't recommend it unless you're just like really itching for like some more Michael Fassbender. Dominic Cooper is also in this and he's good. But like, I don't know, it's just, it's fine. It's all right. Unless you're really desperate, this really isn't a movie it's worth like going out of your way to watch. So yeah. And lastly is Nobody Walks. This is a 2012 film featuring true love of my life, Jane Levy. Yeah. Just love her so much. Okay, anyway. It stars Olivia Thirlby and John Krasinski, and it was co-written by Lena Dunham. And as soon as I saw that, I became worried. And then my worries were realized. So what the basic story premise is that this young adult woman goes from New York to California to live with this sound engineer for a couple weeks while he does sound design stuff for her experimental film. What the movie really is, though, is about, I don't know, like half a dozen characters who all want to bang each other and do bang each other, but it's bad for various reasons and it's just dumb. Like the main character is so incredibly passive. Like she has sex with several of the characters, not really grasping why it's bad for her to be having sex with these characters. Like she does for fleeting moments be like, oh, this is bad because of this. Oh well, and then just moves on. She doesn't give a f. And then like John's character, he is happily married to a wife who does like having sex with him. We see that. And then just out of nowhere, he's like, Olivia, I really want to bang you. And then that becomes the whole rest of the movie. And I'm like, this came out of nowhere. It makes no logical sense. Like, people don't just want to cheat on their partners out of nowhere. There's definitely a lot more that happens. And he does explain himself, giving reasons. Like, I think basically what he was saying is that Olivia's character is a very creative person doing creative film work, and he's energized and inspired by that. And that's what he wants to do, is just be creative and make creative stuff. And even though he's about to do the sound design for a feature-length film, that's not what he wants to do or something. And like, that's an okay reason. But they didn't show us any of that prior to him telling us that. Another thing with this film is that like, Lena's a good writer. She writes well, and it sounds clever and smart. But if you're actually paying attention to what's being said, it's terrible things. Like, pretty much everyone in this movie is a terrible person doing terrible things. Except for Jane. Jane only has one line in one shot, and that's it, which is so sad. But anyway. But it's not like the filmmakers are presenting these like, oh, we're supposed to see these as bad, terrible people doing bad, terrible things. No, this is just what life is, and we're just along for the journey. And it's just, it's not good. It's so bad. Also, there's a section where one of the characters is a therapist, and one of her patients wants to bang her, and she is insanely unprofessional. Like, she calls it out at the end, but like, there are like 50 lines that got crossed that she didn't bat an eye at. And it's just unrealistic and terrible and dumb, and I really, really hate it. Honestly, the more I'm talking about this movie, the more I don't like it. And I think that's a good thing, and I can't wait to not think about this movie ever again. So yeah, I don't like this movie, and I really don't recommend it. Even if you're a person like me who is madly in love with Jane Levy, it's not worth it because she's only in this movie for like 10 seconds. So not even 10 seconds. It was like 3 seconds. Yeah. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Leaving Las Vegas sitting at number 132 in the quite like section. And then after that is Centurion sitting at number 211 in the liked section. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is Nobody Walks sitting at number 255 in the didn't like category. And this is out of a total of 285 movies this year.